That was disgusting. That was really gross. But a win is a win is a win is a win.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Thursday, May 8th, 2025. Thank you so much for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. And if you bet on the Detroit Tigers to win this ball game, you would have been sweating through your clothes, but still come out victorious. The Detroit Tigers still come out victorious with an 8-6 victory in extra innings over the Colorado Rockies in Coors. They're 23-13 now, 10 games over 500, 7-3 in the team's last 10. It was a really important win, to get that going into a doubleheader on Thursday. Welcome back, by the way, everybody. No episode yesterday. Sorry about that. Rain out. And you know what? Rain out happens to be my father's birthday. So spent some time with the old man. And nothing better than that. So sorry about that, but we're back on track. And thankfully, the Detroit Tigers are back and winning ball games. My first thought, I'll be real with you, my first thought was that was an awful baseball game. I don't really care what the final result was. That's not true at all, actually. I care immensely that it was a win. Okay, and I think it's very nice, and I do not take for granted the fact that the Tigers are playing good enough baseball where they can play a gross, disgusting, foul, just nasty baseball game like that. And at the end of all of those adjectives, I can say, and the Tigers still won, right? And that's like the reoccurring theme probably throughout this show and throughout my initial thoughts after this game ended was like, you really needed to take game one against the worst team in baseball when you play a doubleheader. I say it all the time. I don't care if you're playing last year's White Sox, 2 years ago's Oakland Athletics, or this year's Rockies. It is hard to take both games in a doubleheader. It's just very hard, especially in a weird park like Coors Field. Okay, it is very difficult to go and play 18 straight innings against any professional baseball team, in the mountains no less, and walk out of there 2-0. So you really needed to win this ball game so that you could afford, I guess is the word I'll use, the split of the doubleheader on Thursday. And the fact that they are playing, again, good enough baseball where you can still say, oh, like they played poorly and still won, I will never take for granted ever again. Because that is a privilege to be in that position as a ball club and to be someone who talks about that team for a living, right? That is a privilege as a fan to be able to be frustrated after a win. There's not too many teams out there that have that privilege. And I think the Tigers are one of them as the Rockies fall to 6-29 on the season. What went right in this ball game? Hard not to immediately talk about Trey Sweeney, who initially they said went 4 for 4. That in no way, shape, or form was ever a hit. And like on top of the fact that it was in Coors. What happened to hometown scoring? Like, is that just gone? Do you remember, like, that was like my mom's favorite joke growing up was like if there was, an error that was ruled a hit or vice versa and the team, it benefited the home team, like hometown ruling. Like What happened to that? Who is in? Does the scorekeeper in Coors just like hate Beck for some reason? I don't know. I thought that was really weird that there was well, I guess actually in that case it would be the pitcher that the scorekeeper would hate. Anyway, thought that was weird. Trey Sweeney 3-hit game though. The error ended up being a pretty big moment as well. But 3 for 3 before that, man. That is 7 hits and an RBI error in his last 2 games. Fantastic, dude. Good for you. His season stats have gone from like around a 200 hitter and around a 600 OPS to a guy who's now hitting 252 with a 714 OPS. That's like around a league average hitter. Hilarious that 2 games, that is honestly more than anything a testament to just how still early in the season we are, right? It's been a really fun start to the year, but we're still so early on that a hot 2-game stretch can make your season stats look completely different than when they were, 48 hours ago. But good for him, man. I think one of the biggest things with Trey Sweeney over these last 2 games, even more so than the hits, is the lack of swing and miss and strikeouts. That's something I was really worried about with him going into the year. And to his credit, I've continued to harp on him about it, even though his strikeout numbers aren't really like terrible. And he draws a walk in this game. Obviously, hasn't struck out in a few days now. I think that's kind of the thing that's the most. I don't want to say like promising necessarily going forward. I'm not trying to say that these last 2 days are like completely changed my viewpoint on him, but maybe the 2 most important things that I'm looking at, obviously aside from just how nice it is to have that production from the bottom of the lineup for 2 games in a row. So good for Trey Sweeney. Has played a solid defensive shortstop as well. Had the one really bad game where he was, had 2 errors in 2 plays, but outside of that has been pretty sound and pretty, fine league average shortstop, which is kind of all they need until they can put Javy back there. So, really solid. And it's like people, the interesting thing with Trey Sweeney is like, I said this a few weeks ago now, but I'll reiterate, like this dude was a first round pick. You know what I mean? Like I know that he was kind of swept under the rug a little bit when talking about that trade and when people talk about like the expectations for the team going forward. I'm not sure anybody really has like Trey Sweeney as like the franchise shortstop or anything like that, and I don't either. But there is still, he's still young and is a former first rounder, and I think the Tigers are hoping to maybe have him look a little bit closer to this stat line that he's rocking as opposed to the one that he had been rocking. So we'll see if that's possible, but either way, really good last few games for him. The torque at bat in extra innings obviously went very, very right for the Detroit Tigers. It's awesome. And I know it's the Manfred runner and whatever, but like that's still a runner in scoring position and Torkelson comes through. His approach is so different. And the fact that he was 0 for 4 going into that plate appearance, and I still like that doesn't change my expectation of him driving in that run there. And that is a credit to his start of the season and how good he's been so far this year. But the fact that I went into that plate appearance and my thought was like, you know what, this is still one of the best hitters on the team. I don't really care that, he doesn't have like a 1200 OPS anymore, because that was obviously always going to be maintained. Like he's still been one of the most, if not the most productive hitter on the team so far this season. And I still expect him to do damage in the middle of this lineup. And that's exactly what he did. So tip of the cap for Torkelson there in that last AB. Honestly, like this is kind of a cop out. What went wrong, or what went right rather, was the Rockies being terrible. Like the Tigers had no business winning this ball game, dude. I'll just keep it an absolute 100 with you. That they had zero business winning this ball game, dude. If the Tigers recreate this performance in this field against 29, 28 other teams, can't play yourself, they lose this game. I swear to you. I mean, maybe, White Sox, whatever. 27. The point remains. The Rockies fumbled over and over and over again. And like obviously the error didn't end up because they couldn't score the Manfred runner in their half of the inning. So like the error didn't even really end up being. I'm not even talking about that, dude. They went 2 for 13 with runners in scoring position. They had a brutally timed, obviously the error and extra, but like defensive breakdown that wasn't an error earlier in the game. The decision making on like just simple stuff like who to throw the baseball to. I mean, longtime listeners on this show remember, the 2022 season where I would just come on here and just rip the fundamentals to shreds, dude. And I was like, you're not even throwing to the right bag. And you're like allowing 90 extra feet and whatever. And like that's how I felt watching this Rockies team. And I we got to get to a break. I'm over time here, but like I feel bad. Like that is such a good fan base that it just is not showing up to ball games, and they probably shouldn't. And that's such a waste of one of the premier, not just baseball parks, like sporting venues in the entire country, dude. Coors Field is a treasure. That is a beautiful, beautiful park. One of the best that any sport this country has to offer. And they've just been absolutely terrible for so long now. I feel really bad, but I don't feel bad about winning ball games against whoever is in the other dugout. And so we're going to take this and run. Let's talk Javy, who had a really decent, I say really decent. He drove in 4 runs. He had a good day at the plate. We'll talk about his center field play a little bit as well. And then the bullpen locking the down and nails 0 earned runs for the pen. We'll talk about all that and more right after this. Going to talk to you all today about our friends over at supplyhouse.com. Get the supplies you need from the site that is made for the skilled trades, supplyhouse.com. Whether you're into plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. If you need help with an order, Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person no matter what. And for trade pros that are looking for an extra edge, their free TradeMaster program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every single order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. So join the TradeMaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM. and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off of your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Also got to talk to you all today about our friends over at FanDuel. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game. The NBA playoffs are here, and they are in absolute full swing. Every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments, whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player. There's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live, whether it's player props, performance trends, same-game parlays, you name it. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. If you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. So make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Segment 2, Locked On Tigers. Appreciate you all for tuning in. As always, making us your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. We, of course, will be back tomorrow recapping a doubleheader against the Colorado Rockies. Supposed to be some decent weather out there, so hopefully that is the case. Tigers do win 8-6 on Wednesday night. Talking about Javy Baez here. Gets 2 really identical, really big hits, but identical hits right up the middle. Sliders low and away. Just throws the barrel out there. It lands on the ball and gets a nice hard grounder up the middle for a couple of runs. Gets 4 RBIs total in this ball game. Now, his other 2 at-bats, he reverted right back to swinging at sliders 10 feet out of the strike zone, which is just hilarious to me. Like, that is the perfect epitome of the Javy Baez experience. Really, I don't know, like his Tigers career. It's like, okay, like there's a lot of good to like here. Wow, look at this. And then it's like, oh, right. I forgot that that's still also kind of a thing. So yeah, he goes absolutely fishing still, but is responsible for 4 runs in a game that went into extra innings and the Tigers only won by 2. So not going to complain. As far as his center field play, I think for the first time you finally kind of saw like, oh, that was a fly ball into the gap. Javy didn't get to it. A, he was close. B, he's not a center fielder. And C, he made some other good plays in the ball game. Like, that's a tough play for anybody. That's a tough play for an everyday center fielder. It's not a tough play for Parker Meadows, but that's not the bar. That's not the bar is not to be as good defensively as, you know, one of the best defensive center fielders the sport has to offer. So I have no issue with it. Obviously, if it would have like cost the Tigers the game, I would have been, I don't know, maybe like frustrated, but like, again, what he is doing for this team is just so ridiculous and above and beyond what expectations were for him going into the season that I'm not going to complain about that play that ended up, again, not even costing the Tigers the ball game there. The bullpen, fantastic, dude. Just throw up zeros, zeros, zeros. Brant Herter, Brennan Hanafy, Tommy Kahnle, I mean, did throw up a 0, but like it wasn't without some numbers in some other stats. I mean, my goodness, he had no feel for the strike zone, man. I mean, that was some of the worst command we've seen from Kahnle so far. And the fact that, again, I say that and he still throws up a 0 is impressive and really nice, to be honest. Like, that's I think part of that is, again, just kind of playing the Rockies. You also had like a liner that screamed off the bat and just was right at Zach McKinstry. So maybe a little bit of luck in there too with the bases loaded, 2 men on bases loaded. Yeah. But yeah, man, he had no feel for the fastball, which he only threw a couple of times, but no feel for the changeup, which is obviously almost all of his pitches. Brutal. And then Will Vest was an absolute dog, man. Got a little bit of help from the umpire there to end the 9th inning, but we're going to take it and run. He's an absolute monster. And I think it is worth noting that Kahnle got the 8th inning and Will Vest got 9 and 10. You know, we'll see kind of how they're managed going forward. I think it's almost going to be like a, hey, we have 2 highest leverage relievers. So like, if Kahnle was used to save last night's game, then Vest can go out there and save, you know, if Kahnle saves Monday night, Vest can go out and save Tuesday night. Kahnle can save Wednesday. You know what I mean? I think that there's a chance it kind of looks something like that, but they were both used, and that was the order they used them. But also important to note, Kahnle got more of the heart of the order. Vest got the bottom, but then the lineup did flip over there at the end of his outing. So I don't know. But probably reading way too much into it at that point. Actually, probably not. AJ Hinch is kind of a madman like that. But good on the bullpen. Brant Herter is such a valuable piece to this baseball team. And I think Hanafy's had a really solid year. And like, if you want any testament to like what the organization feels about Hanafy, go look at his appearance numbers, dude. That dude has literally pitched in almost every game so far this season. Like, it feels like he literally pitches every night. And that is not on accident. That like AJ is very meticulous about his bullpen usage. That's very intentional. He really trusts him and likes him out of the pen first there. Kind of reminds me of Foley when Foley first came up a few years ago, and he was like that sinker baller that's the first out of the pen, almost kind of copy and paste, actually. Zach McKinstry, that double play in the 10th was an absolute beauty. Not the best day at the plate for him, but wasn't hitting in the top half of the lineup and was fantastic at third base. And it's so unreal that you can just put him literally anywhere in the field and feel good about it. That he's such an incredible athlete and has been so valuable. Bleacher Report actually ranked him as the most valuable, the number 1 utility player in all of baseball up to this point this season. So really cool to see him get some recognition there. Colt Keith goes 2 for 3. Beautiful piece of hitting. Actually, both of his knocks were beautiful pieces of hitting. But the first, I think it was the first one specifically, man, that is a fast 98 inside and he gets inside the ball, gets the barrel on it still, and is able to muscle it the opposite, not like hardcore opposite. He was on time for it and still, just intentionally kind of moved the barrel to a spot where he could flick the ball into the outfield and get a really beautiful piece of hitting there. I was really, really impressed with both of his knocks. I think being that on time for fastballs and being able to again kind of put the ball where you want in those situations is really telling that he's kind of seen the ball well lately, which is so great because he so wasn't for the first month of the season. I mean, really the offense as a whole against Dollander, like that is really and honestly not even the first time through the lineup. The offense after the lineup flipped over once against Chase Dollander, that was the good side of the offense. Who, by the way, just really quickly, I still believe he's a good pitcher. He's got an ERA over 7 now. Again, he's pitching for the Rockies, dude. Like it is so. They're the best pitcher in their franchise history is Ubaldo Jimenez. No disrespect to my dog, legend, but like that, you know what I mean? Like that is the. It is so hard to develop pitching out there, and I really hope that he's able to figure it out because that's a really good arm with really good stuff. So, what went wrong in this game? It's not nothing. Again, this was a really brutal baseball game. So we'll talk about that right after this. Got to talk to y'all today about our friends over at Wonderful Pistachios. If you're looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious, crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts out there, with each 1 ounce serving giving you over 10% of your daily value of protein with 6 grams. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Personally, I love the no shells variety. I think it's the perfect grab and go snack for busy days when I'm snacking at my desk, on a road trip, or just need a quick protein boost. They're always my go-to. And if you love cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, well, the in-shell options are a classic favorite as well. So get snacking and get cracking with a snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. All right, everybody, welcome back. Your third and final segment of Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. As always, what went wrong? Jackson Jobe, 3 2/3, 8 hits, 6 earned runs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts, 2 home runs against. Not a great outing, obviously. I think that kind of goes without saying. He's truly just really struggling to induce swing and miss. That's been a huge problem for him so far, and he has such good stuff that I'm sure he's very frustrated by that as well. I thought this outing might be different because it's the Rockies and in against the leadoff hitter. He got against Doyle. He got a swing and miss on the slider right away for a third strike. I was like, oh, maybe we've turned a corner here a little bit, and that obviously ended up not being the case. Look, like I still think he needs to be in the rotation. I still think he needs to be here. I said it a few weeks ago. Tarek Skubal, I'm pretty sure gave up the most home runs in the American League his rookie year. Like, go look at his numbers early on. Like, you have to develop in the majors. From the bottom of my heart, I do not think sending him to AAA right now accomplishes anything, man. Like that is. I also don't think he's playing poor enough to even really justify that. This was not a good outing. I'm not here to like convince you that, this was actually secretly really good. And what, like, this was not good. Obviously, that goes without saying. But this was the 6th start of his career and it was in Coors Field, dude. Like, I am not going to be like, I'm out on him, dude. He got rocked in Coors 1 month into his career. I'm done. Like, it's okay. And honestly, even more so, the Tigers have the luxury of 4 good pitchers surrounding him in the rotation. It's not like, he's not losing you games. You still won this one, even when he pitched, he had the worst start of his career, probably the worst start of his life. It's okay. It's just going to take time, and development is necessary. And it's necessary at the major league level against major league hitters, dog. He will figure it out, and he will be incredible, dude. He's going to be so good. Let's let him work with the best pitching coach in baseball that we always hype up all the time. It's okay. I promise. Yeah, and he honestly, that's my big picture conversation. In a vacuum, under a microscope, this game not good. He probably should have given up a few more runs. The offense, the Rockies' offense is not good. I don't know, man. Like even a couple of those, the big chopper to third was like BABIP. There was a blooper to right field. Like, and they weren't good pitches. They should have been hit hard somewhere. But like, I don't know. I have a really hard time like just completely changing my tune on Jobe after this outing. Really just the fastball is what I continue to look for. I talked about that earlier this week on our off day show. I need to see more swing and miss out of his fastball. And that's not like a secret or something I discovered. Everybody is talking about that. He had 0 whiffs on the fastball. The one thing I love to see, if you're going to take anything good, it was the sinker inside to a righty that got a swing and miss. It's a hard pitch to catch up on. He throws it 95, 96. Because the pitch is moving inside, even though it's not as fast as his four seam, it acts faster, and it's harder to get the barrel around onto a righty because it's moving in. I think it's a beautiful pitch. I think he should do it way, way, way more often. I want to see him throw that 40% of the time or whatever to righties. I think it's a really good idea to kind of mix that in to the repertoire more. So we'll see. As far as the offense goes, really the offense against the Rockies bullpen was terrible. They had no momentum. They were getting blown away by velocity. It drove me absolutely up a wall. They were chasing a lot. Just like, honestly, the word I want to use, they were going up there. It was immature at bats, dude. Like it literally seemed like at a point they were like, oh, like, it's the Rockies. I'll just go up there and hack. And like, I don't think that's true. I think the Tigers are extremely prepared for all of their opponents, but that's what it looked like. That is the execution that was had. Carpenter continues to chase high fastballs. And I'm not just like picking on Carp. He's one of the best hitters on the team. I'm not trying to like pick on him specifically. Everybody struggled against the bullpen. They put up 0 runs in Coors against the Colorado Rockies bullpen. That's unacceptable, and you're not going to win on Thursday if you can't score against this pen. So, I mean, when the starter only goes 3 innings and you put up 0 earned runs, and the game goes into extras, and you put up 0 earned runs against the bullpen, that's not going to reflect very well. Stuff. Dylan Dingler draws a walk. Good job, buddy. The dugout's reaction was the best part, dude. That's just guys being dudes, just absolutely hyped beyond belief for his first walk of the season around his 100th plate appearance. I mean, my goodness. Weird umpire game. I thought he was really good for 8 innings and then terrible in the 9th and in extras. I don't know what happened, if he had like a dinner reservation he was missing or what, but I thought that was kind of interesting. The Tigers are first place in their PR department. Hasn't stopped talking about it. Rightfully so. That's not slander. They probably should. It's a really cool fun fact. But every single team in their organization right now is in first place in their division or league. So I think it's division. So that's really cool. Kind of a good sign of a good major league product and a good farm system. That's something that obviously good sustainable teams want and have. So good on them. Kenta Maeda technically is put on released waivers. We talked about this a week ago when he was DFA'd. He wasn't going to get DFA'd and come back. That's not how being DFA'd works. So like that, I don't know. People were like doing a second round of like dancing on his metaphorical grave there, which I thought was like kind of weird. Like, okay, like no new information was given to us, but okay, if we want to be excited again, I guess, more power to you. Margot, his rehab assignment is over and he is outrighted to Toledo, which I think is very interesting. Basically, the decision there was keep Malloy or send Malloy down and bring back Manny Margot. I don't think Margot gives them enough versatility to really justify bringing him back. Like, he kind of just gives you the same thing as Malloy, but without the walks and with more bat to ball skills. Like, he's unplayable against righties. He can't play center field. So he's just a corner outfielder that also has not looked very good defensively in the corner outfield, at least in his small sample size in Detroit so far. It's just they're getting on base different ways. But I don't, and Malloy maybe has more power, I guess. We haven't really seen too much of it this year, but like in theory, I don't know. I really don't hate the decision to do that. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. 10 games over 500, people. 10 games on May 8th. Your Detroit Tigers are 10 games over 500. If I would have told you that on March 8th, you would have slapped me in the face and called me an idiot. Okay? Some of you want to do that anyway as you're listening to this. Yeah, that's okay. All right? That's okay if you want to do that. We root for a team, both of us, whether you hate me or love me, that's 10 games over 500, and that's pretty darn cool. All right. Also, we're so back. The Detroit Tigers PR department had to put out a tweet saying, hey, we're almost in standing room only already for this weekend series. Scooble's pitching. The weather's going to be beautiful. Detroit's going to be rocking. There's no other sporting events going on. It is Tiger Town, baby. It is officially Tiger Town for the next 4 to 5 months and hopefully into October. This city loves its Tigers, man, and I am so pumped. I live down here, and I'm so excited to see the vibe of how this city's going to rally behind this good baseball team this summer. We'll see what's used as far as pitching goes in the doubleheader. Mize is going to pitch, I think, game 1, but he's pitching one of the 2 games. Game 2 is currently TBD. Cater Montero hasn't pitched in 5 or 6 days. I don't know if he's there already. I don't know if he's on a plane out there. Not really sure. I would imagine they want to avoid a bullpen game considering they don't have a day off for another week. However, if logistically, travel-wise, it can make sense to get Montero out there, that's been their plan for most of their doubleheaders this year. So we'll see. It's not going to be Scuba, though. They're going to push him to Friday. As we talked about earlier, do not worry. If you listen to this show, you understand why. We talk about it all the time. AJ doesn't want to use two pitchers in his rotation, goodness, on one calendar day, especially with no day off until next Thursday. So it definitely won't be somebody that's in the rotation right now. And we'll see what they do. Maybe a bullpen game. I don't know, but we'll see. Next, we're going to get Locked On Tigers, your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. And we will, of course, be back tomorrow. Recapping, hopefully, a doubleheader sweep. But honestly, I'm really not going to be mad at a split. If you walk out of there with taking 2 of 3, one of those losses being in a doubleheader, I'm going to say, okay, great. Let's go home. Scooble on the bump Friday. Let's have a good weekend. All right. Peace and love. Going to therapy's dope. I'll catch y'all tomorrow, baby. Go Tigers.